20 colonists had died during the first month from heat stroke before proper cooling systems were installed. Their graves stood as a somber reminder of humanity's fragile existence on this alien world. Lisa passed the memorial garden on her way to the perimeter gate, nodding respectfully as she always did. Guard duty was typically uneventful, but Lisa preferred it to the political tension inside the colony walls. Hope Colony represented humanity's first serious attempt at interstellar settlement, beyond the solar system, away from Earth and all its problems. Out here among unfamiliar stars, humans had a chance to start fresh. At least that was the promise that had brought 5,000 colonists to this distant world. Lisa approached the security checkpoint where her patrol partner should have been waiting, but the station was empty. She frowned, checking her wrist communicator to confirm the schedule. Ben should be here, she muttered. Looking around the empty security hut, the monitors showed the usual feeds from perimeter cameras, nothing unusual. Yet something felt wrong. Lisa activated her comm link. Ben, this is Lisa. Where are you? Static answered her for several seconds before a breathless voice broke through. Lisa, don't come out here. Something's happening in Sector 7. Sector 7 was part of the Forbidden Zone territory that the native Sylvari species had declared off-limits to humans during tense negotiations 3 years earlier. When the colony ships first arrived, the Sylvari had been hostile until diplomats managed to establish a fragile treaty. What are you doing in Sector 7? Lisa demanded, already moving toward the east gate, the shortest route to the forbidden area. I saw movement on the thermal scanners. Ben explained, his voice barely audible through increasing static. Something big but not Sylvari, not matching their heat signatures. Had to check it out. Lisa quickened her pace. You know that's against protocol. Ben. The Sylvari will, the communication, cut off abruptly. Lisa broke into a run, her hand hovering over her weapon. The peace with the Sylvari remained fragile. Any violation of the treaty zones could trigger a diplomatic incident or worse. The eastern perimeter was less developed than the main colony entrance, with only a simple fence marking the boundary. Lisa slipped through the gate using her security clearance. The terrain beyond sloped gently upward toward a ridge of strange hexagonal rock formations that glowed faintly. In the deepening twilight, Lisa activated her night vision implant and the world transformed into shades of green and blue. Heat signatures appeared as bright spots against the cooler background. She moved silently, following the trail Ben would likely have taken. The Forbidden Zone began approximately half a kilometer beyond the colony boundary, marked by tall stone pillars carved with Sylvari warnings. Lisa had studied enough of their language to recognize the symbols for danger and death. The Bauer. Sylvari claimed this area contained sacred grounds where their ancestors communed with the planet itself. As she approached the boundary, Lisa noticed unusual tracks in the soft soil. Not Sylvari, whose three-pronged feet left distinctive marks. These tracks looked almost human, but deeper, as if whoever made them carried something heavy. Lisa followed the tracks past the boundary stones and into the Forbidden Zone. Her heart raced, knowing that every step risked discovery by Sylvari patrols. Landscape changed subtly here. The vegetation grew in perfect geometric patterns impossible in nature, and the air carried strange scents like cinnamon and ozone. A faint signal appeared on her scanner. Ben's communicator, but the reading was stationary. Either he had stopped moving or had dropped his comm. Lisa approached cautiously, weapon drawn as she crested a small rise. The valley below took her breath away. Unlike the arid landscape surrounding the colony, this hidden valley was lush with vegetation. Trees with spiral trunks reached toward the sky, their leaves glowing with bioluminescence in shades of blue and purple. A small stream cut through the center, reflecting starlight like liquid silver. Lisa almost missed the crumpled form lying near. The water, at first glance, it looked like a pile of discarded cloth, but her scanner indicated a life form, weak but present. She approached carefully, sweeping the area for signs of danger. There was no sign of Ben, but the tracks she had been following led directly to the figure on the ground. As Lisa drew closer, she realized this wasn't Ben or any human. It was one of the Sylvari. The alien female lay motionless, her delicate purple skin lacerated with multiple wounds. Her clothing, once probably Elaborate was torn and soaked with silvery purple blood that gleamed in the starlight. The Sylvari's elegant limbs were arranged at awkward angles, suggesting a violent attack, or fall. Lisa's first instinct was to retreat to report the discovery to her superior's colony. Protocol was clear. Any encounter with the Sylvari, especially in the Forbidden Zone, required immediate reporting. Interfering with their affairs could threaten the entire colony, but something stopped her. The Sylvari was clearly dying abandoned here where no one would find her. Lisa remembered her training before joining the Colonial Defense Force. The oath she had taken included protecting all sentient life, not just human. Lisa knelt beside the wounded alien, checking vital signs. The Sylvari's body temperature ran higher than humans, making her skin warm to the touch. Her breathing came in shallow gasps, the tripartite chest rising and falling irregularly. "I'm going to help you," Lisa whispered, knowing the alien probably couldn't understand her. She retrieved her medical kit and began cleaning the most severe wounds, applying synthetic skin patches designed to adapt to various physiologies. The Sylvari's eyes suddenly fluttered open, revealing stunning silver irises that seemed to capture the starlight itself. The alien gasped something in her melodic language, too quick for Lisa to comprehend. "It's okay," Lisa said soothingly. "I'm not going to hurt you." The Sylvari tried to move, then winced in pain. Lisa gently restrained her. "You need to stay still, you're badly hurt." To Lisa's surprise, the alien responded in heavily accented English. "They will come back, finish what they started. You should not be here." "Human, you speak our language?" Lisa said, startled. "Some of us study your kind," the Sylvari whispered, her voice weakening. "The zealots do not approve. They left me to die." "Who did this to you?" Lisa asked as she continued treating the wounds. "My own blood. My brother." Her silver eyes clouded with what Lisa recognized as grief. Despite the alien features, the elders ordered it. "I discovered something they wished to remain hidden." Lisa activated her universal translator, hoping to better understand. She knew basic Sylvari phrases but lacked fluency. "What is your name?" "Nyx," the alien responded. "The equivalent in your tongue would be Seeker of Hidden Light." Lisa offered her water from her canteen, supporting Nyx's head as she drank. "Well, Nyx, Lisa Carter, and getting you out of here." The Sylvari looked at her with confusion. "Why would you help me? Your people and mine are not friends because you're hurt and I can't leave you here to die," Lisa said, simply finishing her emergency treatment. The wounds were stabilized, but Nyx needed proper medical care. "Can you walk?" Nyx tried to sit up but collapsed immediately. Lisa made a quick decision. She carefully gathered the alien into her arms, surprised at how light she was despite being slightly taller than a human. The Sylvari felt fragile, her bones seemingly hollow like a bird's as Lisa stood with Nyx in her arms. She realized the enormous risk she was taking. Bringing a Sylvari into the human colony violated multiple protocols. If discovered, she would face court-martial, possibly imprisonment. The colony commander had made it clear that the treaty with the Sylvari was to be preserved at all costs. Yet looking down at the wounded alien, Lisa knew she couldn't choose differently. She began the journey back toward the colony, planning how to smuggle Nyx past the perimeter sensors and hide her until she recovered. The stars overhead seemed to watch in judgment as Lisa carried her burden through the Forbidden Zone, leaving behind the Sacred Valley and crossing back into territory where neither of them was supposed to be. Each step carried both women further into an uncertain future. What Lisa couldn't know was that her compassionate choice would soon unravel secrets buried for centuries and change the relationship between humans and Sylvari forever. Now, let me create part 2 for you. The journey back to the colony proved more difficult than Lisa had anticipated. Nyx drifted in and out of consciousness, her silvery blood seeping through the emergency patches Lisa had applied. Several times Lisa had to stop and readjust her hold on the alien woman, who despite her slender frame was still the height of a tall human. Lisa avoided the main colony entrance, knowing the security scanners would immediately detect a non-human life form. Instead, she circled around to the maintenance access near the agricultural domes. These tunnels had been built during initial colony construction and were rarely used now, except by engineering crews. the access hatch required, her security code. But Lisa hesitated, knowing that each use was logged in the colony security system. She would need to explain this later. But there was no alternative. Nyx needed shelter and medical attention immediately. The tunnels were dimly lit, with emergency lighting that cast long shadows as Lisa carried her burden through the narrow passages. She encountered no one, which was both a relief and strangely unsettling. Where was everyone, and what had happened to Ben? Her communicator remained silent despite multiple attempts to contact him. When Lisa finally reached her quarters in the residential section, she was exhausted. Her arms trembled as she gently laid Nyx on her bed. The alien woman looked even more fragile under the standard lighting. Her purple skin had paled to a lavender hue and her breathing was shallow. Lisa secured her door, activating the privacy protocols that would prevent casual interruptions. Then she turned to the problem at hand. Nyx needed medical attention beyond the basic first aid Lisa had administered in the field, but taking her to the colony medical center was impossible. Lisa accessed her personal terminal and searched the medical database for information on Sylvari physiology. The colonial scientific team had compiled limited data during diplomatic exchanges, but much of Sylvari biology remained mysterious. The information confirmed what Lisa had observed. Their body temperature ran several degrees hotter than humans. Their blood contained copper rather than iron, giving it its silvery, purple color, and their metabolism was incredibly efficient. Working carefully, Lisa cleaned and properly dressed each of Nyx's wounds. The cuts were precise, suggesting ritual rather than random violence. Some formed patterns that Lisa suspected held significance in Sylvari culture. As she worked, Nyx occasionally murmured in her native language words that the translator struggled to interpret. When Lisa had done all she could, she covered Nyx with a thermal blanket, adjusting the room temperature higher to accommodate Sylvari comfort levels. Then she sat in her desk chair watching the alien woman sleep and wondering what she had gotten herself into. Morning came with the soft chime of the colony alert system. Lisa jerked awake, realizing she had dozed off in her chair. Her back ached and her mouth felt dry. She glanced quickly at the bed where Nyx lay, her condition seemingly improved. The alien's color had returned to a deeper purple, and her breathing was stronger. Lisa checked her messages and froze. There was a colony-wide alert. Ben's body had been discovered at the edge of the Forbidden Zone, apparently killed by some kind of animal attack. All personnel were ordered to attend an emergency briefing in 1 hour. Lisa looked from her communicator to the alien on her bed. What had really happened to Ben? Had he encountered whatever had attacked Nyx? Or worse, had the Sylvari killed him? Assuming he was violating their sacred ground. She approached the bed and found Nyx, watching her with those remarkable silver eyes. "Your friend is dead," the Sylvari said softly. "It was not my people. If that is what you fear, how did you know about?" Lisa started. "I heard your device. I understand your language better than I can speak." Nyx attempted to sit up, wincing with the effort. "It was the Shadow Claws. They roam the valleys at night. My brother knew they would find me. That was part of the sentence, to be taken by the sacred guardians, leaving no trace." Lisa helped Nyx into a more comfortable position. "I have to attend a briefing. I should report what I found, what I know." Nyx gripped her arm with surprising strength. "No. If your leaders know I am here, they will return me to my people to preserve their treaty. The elders will simply finish what they started and then perhaps seek retribution against your colony for interference." "Why would they care so much about one person?" Lisa asked. "What did you discover that was worth killing for?" "The truth about our peoples," Nyx replied. "Our histories are connected, human. The elders have hidden this knowledge for generations. Your arrival was not the first contact between our species, as you have been told." Lisa sat on the edge of the bed trying to process this revelation. The official history stated that the human colony ships had discovered the Sylvari by chance. The aliens had initially been hostile before diplomatic channels were established. But if what Nyx said was true, I am a scholar among my people. Nyx continued. I study ancient text records kept from the time before records that speak of humans and Sylvari meeting long ago. My research led me to artifacts in the Sacred Valley proving these encounters. The elders declared my findings heretical. I was tried in secret and sentenced to the ritual of cleansing. My own brother carried out the first part ritual of cleansing. Lisa repeated, "The body is cut in specific patterns to release the corrupt spirit." Nyx gestured to her wounds. Then the condemned is abandoned, in sacred ground for the shadow claws to consume, leaving no trace of heresy. Lisa felt a chill despite the warmth of the room. "Your brother did this to you. He had no choice," Nyx said, though her voice carried a hint of bitterness. "The family is always tasked with cleansing its own. In refusing, I would have condemned my entire lineage." The colony alert chimed again, reminding Lisa of the briefing. She stood reluctantly. "I have to go. If I miss this, they will come looking for me. I will bring back supplies, medicine and food. You should be safe here for now before leaving." Lisa showed Nyx how to use the room controls and the emergency signal if anything went wrong. She also locked her personal terminal, restricting access to colony systems. The situation was complicated enough without Nyx exploring human databases. The briefing was held in the main colony hall. A somber commander, Kate Wilson, stood before the assembled colonists and security personnel. Ben's body had been displayed in a sealed medical container. Evidence suggested he had been attacked by some unknown predator. His body showed massive claw marks consistent with a large animal. While the commander spoke, Lisa noticed increased security presence around the hall. Several officers she didn't recognize stood at the perimeter wearing the insignia of colonial intelligence, the somewhat secretive organization that handled sensitive matters for all human colonies. As Lisa listened to the official account, her mind raced. These shadow claws Nyx had mentioned must have been what killed Ben. But why had he been in the Forbidden Zone in the first place? Ben was typically a by-the-book soldier, not prone to taking unnecessary risks. After the briefing, Lisa was approached by one of the intelligence officers, a tall woman with sharp features and calculating eyes. "Officer Carter," the woman said crisply. "My name is Major Ellis. We need to discuss your patrol route last night." Lisa kept her expression neutral. "I was at the west perimeter, Major Standard. Patrol according to your tracker. You entered the eastern sector after receiving communication from Officer Stevens," Ellis stated, watching Lisa's face carefully. Care to explain, Lisa's heart raced, but she maintained her composure. "Ben contacted me saying he detected something unusual. I went to investigate but found no sign of him. I assumed he had returned to base by another route." "And you didn't report?" "This communications were spotty." Lisa lied. "I tried to call it in. I searched for about an hour, then returned to my quarters." Major Ellis studied her for an uncomfortable moment. "Your security credentials were used to access the maintenance tunnel at 0200 hours, an unusual route to return from West Perimeter." I remembered Ben mentioning sensor issues. In that area, Lisa improvised. I thought I might find him there doing repairs. "I see," Ellis said, clearly unconvinced. "Report to my office at 1400 hours for a formal statement." "Officer Carter, this incident requires thorough investigation." Lisa nodded and walked away, feeling the Major's eyes on her back. She had bought some time, but not much. Intelligence would be reviewing all security footage, sensor logs, and communication records. If they discovered Nyx, the consequences would be severe for both of them. She gathered medical supplies from the colony stores, carefully avoiding suspicion by taking small amounts from different areas. Food would be trickier. The Sylvari diet was largely unknown, but Nyx would need nourishment to heal, as Lisa made. Her preparations, she noticed, increased Sylvari activity beyond the colony perimeter. Several of their scout ships had been detected in nearby airspace. Colony security was on high alert. Lisa wondered if they were searching for Nyx. Had her disappearance already been discovered? And if so, how long before they came looking inside the colony? Now let me create part 3 for you. When Lisa returned to her quarters, she found Nyx sitting upright, examining her wounds with clinical detachment. The alien woman looked up as Lisa entered, her silver eyes reflecting The room lights like miniature moons. You have been questioned, she stated rather than asked. Lisa placed the supplies on her desk. How could you know that? Your posture shows tension. Your breathing is elevated. Nyx replied. Sylvari are sensitive to such changes. We evolved as hunters before becoming scholars. Lisa sighed, sinking into her chair. They're investigating Ben's death. Colonial intelligence is involved. A Major Ellis wants my formal statement in a few hours. Nyx considered this intelligence. This word means those who gather information. More like those who pry into everything, Lisa muttered. They handle sensitive matters, report directly to Earth government. They are suspicious about my movements last night. The Sylvari attempted to stand, wincing as her wounds protested the movement. I cannot stay here. I endanger you and your colony. Lisa gently pushed her back onto the bed. You're not going anywhere in your condition. Besides, where would you go? Your people want you dead. Nyx was silent. For a moment, her alien features difficult to read. Then she said, I have allies. Not all Sylvari agree with the elders. Some believe, as I do, that our people's shared history should be acknowledged. Those who seek truth value it above tradition. Who are these allies? Could they help us? Perhaps, but contacting them would be difficult. Nyx gestured to the window where the spires of the Sylvari settlement could be seen in the far distance. They live among the traditionalists, hiding their true beliefs. Communication is monitored. Thrix stared at the screens, his composure cracking. The prophecy texts appeared translated into both Sylvari and English. For the messengers shall return when the path is darkest, when the elders have strayed from truth, when the divide between castes threatens to consume all. When 7 cycles of drought have passed, they shall return and the joining of paths shall begin. What is happening? Wilson demanded, looking from the screens to Thrix. The truth, Commander, Nyx said simply, stepping forward, despite her restraints. What you see are artifacts discovered in the Forbidden Valley, evidence that humans visited our world thousands of years ago. Evidence the elders have tried to suppress. My transmission has reached all Sylvari, allowing them to see what has been hidden. Outside the command center, commotion grew. Sylvari from the ships had entered the colony in greater numbers, but instead of attacking, they simply stood witnessing the broadcast. Many knelt in what appeared to be reverence. Thrix watched this unfolding scene, his expression conflicted. Then, to everyone's surprise, he removed his ceremonial armor, letting it fall to the floor. The ancient texts speak truth. He admitted, his voice heavy. They have spoken truth for generations. Knew this even as I carried out the elders' orders against my own blood. He approached Nyx. The ritual cutting was performed as ordered, but I could not complete it. I left you alive, sister, hoping you would find sanctuary. Nyx reached out, touching her brother's face gently. You knew. I suspected, Thrix replied. The human's arrival matched the prophecy too perfectly to ignore. I have questioned in silence for years, but I lacked your courage to speak openly. Commander Wilson stepped forward, attempting to regain control of the situation. I don't understand what is happening here, but this colony remains under human jurisdiction. Whatever religious or political dispute exists among the Sylvari is not our concern. Lisa moved to Wilson's side. Commander, this is exactly our concern. This changes everything about our relationship with the Sylvari. We aren't strangers to this world. Our peoples have a shared history. The hostility, the restrictions, the forbidden zones, it's all been based on the elders. Fear of this prophecy. As they spoke, more Sylvari entered the command center. Most wore the simple garments of the scholar and worker castes. They moved with purpose, but without aggression. Many approached Nyx, bowing in respect. The prophecy unfolds. One elderly Sylvari announced, the messengers have returned. The path of joining begins. Commander Wilson looked from the growing crowd of Sylvari to Thrix to Lisa. This is beyond my authority, she admitted. I need to contact Earth government. That may prove difficult, Thrix said, gesturing to the communications array. Your technology cannot penetrate the energy fields now surrounding this colony. The elders will attempt to contain what has begun here. They will cut off all communication while they decide how to respond. Lisa felt a chill. What are you saying? That we are isolated, Nyx explained. The conservative faction among my people will not surrender their power easily. They will attempt to silence this revelation by whatever means necessary, including destroying this colony if necessary. Wilson's face paled. What can we do? We must complete what has begun. Nick said simply. We must fulfill the prophecy. Join our knowledge, our strength. Only together can humans and Sylvari face what comes and... What exactly is coming? Lisa asked. Nix and Thrix exchanged glances. The reason our peoples were meant to find each other again, Thrix said. The prophecy speaks not just of reunion but of purpose. Together we face a darkness neither could survive alone. Finally, let me create part 5 for you. The colony command center had transformed into an impromptu council chamber. Humans and Sylvari gathered around the central display where Nix now stood. The alien woman had recovered, remarkably in the past hours, as if the revelation of truth had accelerated her healing. Her wounds remained visible, but she moved with increasing strength. Commander Wilson had established emergency protocols throughout the colony. The shields remained at full power, though sensors confirmed what Thrix had said. They were cut off from communication with Earth. A Sylvari energy field surrounded the entire region, preventing signals from leaving the planet. We need to understand exactly what we're facing, Wilson said, addressing both humans and Sylvari. This prophecy you keep mentioning, what darkness does it speak of? Nix activated the display, showing ancient Sylvari text with translation. They come from beyond the void. The text read, When the messengers return, when the paths join, the devourers will follow. The ancient enemy of all life. Lisa stepped closer, studying the text. This sounds metaphorical, religious. Is there any concrete evidence of an actual threat? Thrix removed a small crystal from his garment, placing it on the display interface. Images appeared showing massive destruction. Entire regions of a planet that appeared similar to the Sylvari homeworld, but devastated, barren, lifeless. These images are from our colony. On the 4th planet of this system, Thrix explained, established 800 cycles ago. Communication ceased suddenly 50 cycles ago. When scout ships investigated, they found this. The images shifted, showing strange structures unlike either human or Sylvari design, black crystalline formations that seemed to absorb rather than reflect light. They grew from the planet's surface, reaching toward the sky like grasping fingers. What happened there? Lisa asked. The structures look almost organic. Our scientists believe they are living technology, Nix explained. They consume planetary resources, convert organic matter into more of themselves. The colony was completely absorbed. Every living thing, Sylvari structures everything. And you've kept this secret, Wilson demanded. How many other colonies have been lost? 3. Thrix admitted. The elders believed isolation was our best defense, limiting knowledge to prevent panic, restricting space travel to contain any potential spread. The humans in the room exchanged alarmed glances. One of the scientists spoke up. If this threat is real, why haven't we detected it? Our colony ships performed comprehensive surveys of this system before landing. Because you did not know what to look for, Nix replied. The devourers remain dormant for long periods, emerging only when sufficient life energy has accumulated. They sense technological civilizations are drawn to them, and the prophecy, Wilson pressed. What exactly does it say about humans and Sylvari facing this threat together? Nix brought up new images. Ancient paintings showing Sylvari and humans standing together facing shadowy forms. The ancient humans taught our ancestors something before they left. Knowledge, they said, would be needed when they returned. The texts speak of humans bringing fire and Sylvari bringing water, two forces that separately cannot defeat the darkness, but together create something new. Science, not mythology. One of the human researchers insisted. What tangible advantage would cooperation between our species provide against this threat? Thrix and Nix exchanged glances. It is not merely symbolic. Thrix explained. Human technology focuses on energy production, quantum manipulation, physical sciences. Sylvari technology centers on biological systems, consciousness manipulation, spiritual sciences. Your weapons use destructive force, ours use disruptive energy. Neither alone has stopped the devourers. But together, Lisa said. beginning to understand the prophecy. Isn't mystical, it's practical. A recognition that our different evolutionary paths created complementary technologies. Exactly. Nix confirmed. The ancient humans who visited our world recognized this potential. They left behind specific knowledge meant to be combined with Sylvari understanding. But the elders feared changing our way of life more than they feared extinction. The command center door opened, admitting a group of senior Sylvari, their elaborate headdresses marking them as members of the ruling caste. At their center walked an ancient Sylvari, his purple skin faded almost to white with age. His silver eyes had dulled to gray, but still held commanding power, Grand Elder Zorax. Thrick said, bowing slightly. Despite his earlier defiance, the ancient Sylvari surveyed the room, his gaze lingering on Nix. "You have done this, child?" he said, his voice surprisingly strong. "Revealed what was hidden, broken. What has stood for generations. I have spoken truth." Elder Nix replied, standing tall. Despite her injuries, she showed no fear facing the leader of her people. Truth. Zorax repeated the word as if testing its weight. "You speak of truth yet understand so little. The prophecy you cling to was never meant to be fulfilled. It was a warning, not a guide." The room fell silent as the Grand Elder approached the display. The Devourers are indeed real. The threat is indeed coming. But the ancient texts have been misinterpreted by generations of scholars. They do not speak of salvation through joining. They speak of catastrophe. Lisa stepped forward respectfully. "With all due respect, Elder, how can you be certain of your interpretation when you've kept these texts hidden? Even from your own people." Zorax turned his ancient gaze to Lisa, studying her. "We have contained the Devourers for thousands of years, human. Through isolation, through sacrifice, through maintaining the purity of our path. The joining of human and Sylvari knowledge does not defeat the darkness. It awakens it fully, Commander." Wilson joined the conversation. "Are you saying contact between our species triggers this threat?" Lisa began unpacking the medical supplies she had brought. Advanced healing compounds, antibiotics, painkillers, all technically meant for humans, but the limited research suggested they would be compatible with Sylvari physiology. "Tell me about this research of yours," Lisa said as she began changing Nick's bandages. "What exactly did you discover that was worth killing for?" Nix remained still as Lisa worked. "The official history taught to both our peoples claims we first encountered humans when your ships arrived 3 cycles ago. But I found ancient texts in the Forbidden Archives, texts that speak of humans visiting our world thousands of years before." Lisa applied a healing compound to a particularly deep wound on Nick's shoulder. "That seems hard to believe. Humans didn't have interstellar travel capability until the quantum drive was developed less than a century ago. It is difficult to reconcile." Nix agreed. "But the evidence is compelling. The texts describe beings identical to humans arriving in ships that fell from the stars. They stayed for many seasons, teaching, exchanging knowledge before departing, promising to return. The ancient Sylvari revered them as messengers from the cosmos." "If that's true, why hide it?" Lisa asked, moving to treat the wounds on Nick's arms. "Why would your elders care about events from thousands of years ago?" The Sylvari's expression darkened. "Because the texts also contain a prophecy. The messengers would return when our people had lost their way, when the divide between castes had grown too great, when the ruling elders had strayed from the true path, and their return would herald the end of the elders' power." "Ah," Lisa said, beginning to understand. A political threat, more than political nix, corrected a threat to their entire way of life. The texts speak of a great change, a merging of paths. The zealots who control our government believe this would destroy Sylvari purity. They have maintained power for generations by enforcing strict separation between castes. Humans represent chaos in their ordered world, and you found proof of these ancient encounters in the valley where you found me. There is a cave hidden behind the waterfall. Inside are paintings and artifacts, tools made in human style but decorated with Sylvari symbols. writings in an ancient form of our language describing the visitors, and most damning of all, a star chart showing Earth. The elders cannot allow such evidence to exist. Lisa finished treating the wounds and helped Nyx into a sitting position, handing her a container of protein-rich liquid, the closest approximation to Sylvari nutrition she could find. So your discovery threatened the power structure of your entire society. Nyx sipped the liquid, grimacing slightly at the taste. It threatened their control of our history. They have taught for generations that Sylvari achieved enlightenment in isolation, that contact with other species, particularly emotional, impulsive species like humans, would contaminate our spiritual purity. Lisa checked the time. The meeting with Major Ellis was approaching. I need to go soon. But first I need to know, is there more to this? What's the real reason your people were so hostile when we first arrived? If these ancient humans were welcomed, why weren't we Nyx set down the container? Because you arrived exactly as the prophecy foretold, when the skies burned with falling stars, when the great drought had lasted 7 cycles, when the elders had executed 3 scholars for heresy. The timing matched perfectly. The zealots panicked. They ordered immediate military response, hoping to drive you away before the prophecy could unfold. The pieces were falling into place for Lisa. The inexplicable hostility when the colony ships arrived, the sudden reversal when diplomats managed to establish contact, the insistence on keeping humans contained in specific areas, all motivated by fear of an ancient prophecy. What would happen if this became public knowledge? Lisa asked. Civil War. Nyx said simply. The lower castes already resent the elders' control. Many would see humans as liberators. The military castes are divided, some loyal to tradition, others questioning the wisdom of conflict. Those who believe in the ancient ways would see your presence as the fulfillment of prophecy. Lisa stood checking her weapon and straightening her uniform. I need to go face this intelligence officer. If you do not return, I will attempt to contact my allies, Nyx said. There are signs and signals known only to those who question the elders, but Lisa. She leaned forward, her silver eyes intense. Know that your kindness has already set events in motion. The elders sense something has changed. They will be watching. Lisa paused at the door. Be careful. While I'm gone, try accessing my terminal. I've unlocked the basic systems. Nothing that connects to the colony network, but enough for you to learn about us. Maybe understanding humans better will help. When the time comes to reveal the truth, the intelligence division occupied a small building near the colony command center. Unlike the open, transparent architecture of most colony structures, this building featured narrow windows and multiple security checkpoints. Lisa passed through body scanners and identity verification, feeling her anxiety rise with each step. Major Ellis waited in a sparse interview room. Her dark uniform bore no identifying markers beyond her rank. Her eyes revealed nothing. As Lisa entered and took the seat across from her, Officer Carter Ellis began, her voice clinically detached. I've reviewed the security logs from last night. There are discrepancies in your account. The western perimeter sensors show no activity during your claimed patrol route. Your communication with Officer Stevens was considerably longer than you reported, and most concerning, the maintenance tunnel cameras show you carrying something large. Something you took considerable care to keep concealed. Lisa kept her expression neutral. I was carrying equipment, Major. Some of our sensor arrays have been malfunctioning. I was bringing back components for repair. Ellis placed a datapad on the table between them. The thermal imaging disagrees. The mass you carried generated heat consistent with a living organism, too large for local wildlife. Surprisingly, the bioscanners registered nothing, which suggests deliberate sensor interference. I can't explain that, Lisa said, maintaining eye contact. I was alone. The intelligence officer leaned forward slightly. We both know that's not true. Carter, whatever or whoever you brought into this colony poses a potential risk to everyone here. This is your opportunity to cooperate before this becomes a formal investigation, with serious consequences. Lisa considered her options. The truth was impossible. Colonial regulations were explicit. Unauthorized contact with the Sylvari, especially bringing one into the colony without clearance, constituted a severe breach of security protocols. At minimum, shed-face court-martial, potentially imprisonment, but lying to intelligence carried its own risks. Ellis clearly had evidence enough to pursue the investigation. They'd search her quarters eventually and discover Nix before Lisa could respond the colonies. Emergency alert system activated. A harsh tone followed by the commander's voice. All security personnel to stations. Sylvari vessels approaching colony airspace. This is not a drill. Repeat, this is not a drill. Ellis glanced at her communicator, her expression hardening. We will continue this discussion later. Carter, report to your station. But know this, whatever you've done has put this colony at risk. I will discover the truth. Lisa hurried from the building, joining the flow of security personnel moving toward defensive positions. The colony shields were activating a shimmering barrier, designed to protect against environmental hazards and limited attacks, but they had never been tested against a determined Sylvari. Assault from her position at the eastern perimeter. Lisa could see 3 Sylvari vessels hovering beyond the shield perimeter. Their sleek, crystalline hulls captured and refracted sunlight, making them appear to glow from within. They made no aggressive moves, simply maintaining position in a triangular formation. The colony commander, Kate Wilson, approached the shield edge, flanked by security. A communications array was quickly established. It's standard protocol during first contact situations to attempt peaceful resolution before considering military options. One of the Sylvari vessels descended, landing just beyond weapon range. A tall figure emerged, walking with measured steps toward the human delegation. Lisa recognized the elaborate headdress and ceremonial armor of a Sylvari elder. One of the ruling caste. Commander Wilson stepped forward, activating the translation system. I am Commander Kate Wilson of Hope Colony. Why have you entered our airspace without authorization? The Sylvari elder stopped at a respectful distance. We seek one of our own. A criminal who has fled justice. A heretic who threatens the peace between our peoples. Lisa felt her heart race. They were looking for Nix. The commander maintained a neutral expression. We have no record of any Sylvari entering our territory. All perimeter sensors show normal operation. The elder made a gesture, and a second Sylvari emerged from the ship. This one, Lisa noticed with shock, looked remarkably similar to Nix, though. His features were harder, his stance rigid with military discipline. Her brother, perhaps the heretic, possesses technology capable of disrupting your primitive sensors. The elder stated, this criminal has stolen sacred artifacts and spread dangerous falsehoods. We have tracked her to your colony, Commander. Wilson straightened her posture. We have no knowledge of this individual. But I assure you, we respect the treaty between our peoples. We will conduct a thorough search of our colony and report any findings. The elder seemed to consider this for a moment, then inclined his head slightly. We will remain here until this matter is resolved. Be warned, Commander, harboring this criminal would constitute an act of aggression against the Sylvari conclave. We would be forced to respond accordingly. As the Sylvari delegation returned to their vessel, Lisa slipped away from her post. She needed to reach Nix, warn her. The colony would soon be searching every building, every room. It would only be a matter of time before they found her. Lisa took a circuitous route, avoiding security cameras and patrols. When she finally reached her quarters, she found Nix standing by the window, watching the Sylvari ships with an unreadable expression. They are looking for me, the alien woman said without turning. Yes, Lisa confirmed. They called you a criminal, a heretic. They said you've stolen artifacts. Nix turned, her silver eyes reflecting determination. I took nothing that wasn't already mine, knowledge, truth. My research, my findings. But Lisa, we have little time. Now I must ask you to make a choice. Now let me create part 4 for you. What choice? Lisa asked, watching Nix carefully. The alien woman had changed in the short time Lisa had been gone. Though still injured, she stood straighter with renewed purpose. Her silver eyes held a determination that hadn't been there before. Whether to help me reveal the truth to both our peoples or to turn me over to the elders. Nix replied, they will search this colony thoroughly. They will find me. The only question is what happens before they do. Lisa moved to the window, looking out at the Sylvari ships hovering beyond the colony shield, like predators waiting for their prey to emerge. They could attack, destroy the entire colony. If she's harboring the alien, the Elder had said, it would constitute an act of aggression. What exactly do you want to do? Lisa asked. While you were gone, I accessed your terminal as you suggested. Nix gestured to the computer. I learned much about your people, your history. But more importantly, I constructed this. She held up a small device unlike anything Lisa had seen before. It appeared to be made from parts of Lisa's spare communicator, combined with something Nix must have been carrying. The components were arranged in patterns that made no logical sense to human engineering principles, yet it hummed with energy. What is that? Lisa asked a transmitter designed to access the Sylvari information network. Nix explained, the Elders control all communication, but there are hidden channels known only to those who question. Among my people there is a resistance of sorts. Scholars, scientists, those who believe in truth over doctrine. With this, I can broadcast the evidence of our shared history to all Sylvari simultaneously, something the Elders cannot block or explain away. You built that from scraps, Lisa said, impressed. The principles are simple, the materials adequate. Nix replied. The difficulty was adapting your human technology to interface with Sylvari frequencies. And what happens if you succeed in broadcasting this truth? Nix's expression grew solemn. Change. Some will resist violently. Others will embrace the revelation. The social order my people have maintained for generations will transform. But most importantly, the path to genuine cooperation between our species will open. The prophecy speaks of humans and Sylvari achieving together what neither could alone. And if I turn you over to your people, then the Elders will execute me properly. This time, Nix said, without emotion they will destroy all evidence of our shared history. The colony will be safe for now, but the Elders will never trust humans. Their fear will eventually lead to conflict. Your people will either be driven from this world or destroyed. Harsh pounding on the door interrupted them. Lisa Carter, this is Colonial Security, open immediately by order of Commander Wilson. Lisa looked from the door to Nix. The moment of decision had arrived. She thought of her duty to the colony, to humanity. The regulations were clear. The treaty with the Sylvari was paramount. Harboring Nix violated everything she had sworn to uphold. Yet something deeper pulled at her conscience. The right to truth. The possibility of genuine peace between their peoples. The courage of this alien woman willing to die for what she believed. Lisa made her decision. I need time, she called through the door. Medical emergency, I'm not decent. Give me 2 minutes. She turned to Nix, lowering her voice. Do it. Whatever you're planning, do it now. Nix moved quickly, connecting her device to Lisa's terminal. The small contraption glowed with increasing intensity as Nix manipulated controls that seemed to respond to her touch in ways Lisa couldn't comprehend. Lisa Carter, final warning. Open this door, the security officer shouted. The sound of an override code being entered into the lock panel echoed through the room. How long do you need? Lisa asked, positioning herself near the door. The connection is establishing. Nix replied her, fingers moving in complex patterns across the device. Just moments more. The door slid open, revealing 2 security officers with weapons drawn. Lisa stood before them, blocking their view of Nix. Commander Wilson. Wants to see you immediately. Officer, Carter 1 stated. A Sylvari delegation is demanding access to all quarters. I understand, Lisa said, maintaining her position. But as you can see, I'm not properly dressed. She gestured to her disheveled appearance, hoping to buy a few more seconds from. Behind her came a high-pitched whine as Nix's device activated. The security officers reacted instantly, raising their weapons. Step aside, Carter 1 ordered. Lisa had no choice. She moved, revealing Nix standing by the terminal. The alien woman stood, tall despite her injuries, her silver eyes fixed on the human security officers. The device in her hands pulsed with energy. What the hell, a security officer exclaimed. Then into his communicator. Sylvari presence confirmed in residential section. 3 room 17, it's done, Nix said softly to Lisa. The truth is transmitted. Nothing can stop it now. The next moments passed in a blur. Security officers entered, restraining both Lisa and Nick's colony. Protocols for alien containment were implemented. Nix was placed in a biocontainment field while Lisa was escorted to a detention cell. Her security clearance was revoked. Her weapons confiscated. Hours passed in isolation. Lisa sat on the hard bench in her cell, replaying the events that had led to this moment. She had violated her oath, endangered the colony for an alien she barely knew. Was it worth it? The cell door opened, revealing Commander Wilson, her face a mask of controlled anger. "What were you thinking?" "Carter," she demanded, "bringing a Silvery into the colony, hiding her in your quarters. Do you understand what you've done?" "I understand more than you realize," Lisa replied, meeting the commander's gaze. "Did they tell you she's a scholar, that her own people tried to kill her for discovering evidence that humans and Silvari have met before?" Wilson's expression flickered briefly. "I don't care about Silvari internal politics. The treaty is clear. No unauthorized contact. The Silvari delegation is demanding we turn her over to them, and will you?" Lisa asked. Before Wilson could answer, alarms blared throughout the colony. Perimeter breach warnings flashed on all screens. The commander activated her communicator report. She demanded security forces are reporting multiple breaches at all colony entrances, a voice responded. "Silvari have entered the colony, but Commander, they're not attacking. They're just standing there. That's impossible." Wilson snapped. "The Silvari wouldn't," a new voice interrupted over the communication system. "This is Elder Thrix of the Silvari Conclave. I demand to speak with the human commander and the heretic immediately." Wilson looked at Lisa, her expression hardening. "Looks like you're about to face the consequences of your actions." She gestured for Lisa to follow, escorted by security personnel. They were led to the colony command center, where Nix had already been brought. The alien woman remained calm despite being surrounded by guards. Both human and Silvari security forces maintained a tense standoff. Around the room at the center stood a tall Silvari male wearing elaborate ceremonial armor. His features resembled Nix, though harsher, more angular. The family resemblance was unmistakable. This must be her brother, the one who had carried out the ritual-cutting elder. Thrix approached Nix, speaking in the Silvari language. The universal translators converted his words. "You have violated our most sacred laws, sister. You have exposed secrets meant to remain hidden. The punishment is final." Death Nix responded with quiet dignity. "I have revealed only truth, brother. A truth you know in your heart. The prophecy unfolds whether you accept it or not." Thrix turned to Commander Wilson. "This heretic has stolen sacred artifacts, spread dangerous lies, corrupted. You're human with her falsehoods. We demand her immediate return to face justice." Wilson looked between the Silvari elder and Lisa. Is this true? Did she steal artifacts from her people? Before Lisa could respond, the colony communication system activated. Unexpectedly, screens throughout the command center filled with images. Ancient cave paintings showing figures unmistakably human, standing alongside Silvari star charts, highlighting both Earth and the Silvari homeworld artifacts bearing symbols from both cultures. These images are being broadcast across all Silvari networks, a technician reported. They're bypassing our security protocols. They're everywhere.